So as you probably have heard, the topic is in the flow of life. And that's an interesting topic because it brings to mind, well, what's life? And I want you to think about a proposition that I'm going to propose now, and that is that there are a collection of synonyms, which are words, different words that mean basically the same thing. And those synonyms are life, light, love, and God. So that's bad news for those who consider themselves to be atheists, because just about everybody believes in life and believes in light and believes in love. And what they don't believe in is the old-fashioned version of God. The mean, ornery son of a gun who dashes people against rocks and throws thunderbolts at them. And actually, it's claimed required a blood sacrifice. Frankly, my friends, that's the reason that I became an atheist. I was a card-carrying atheist from the time I was 16 until I was pretty close to 50. And that was because I couldn't stand that old definition. I just rebelled. I said, you know, there's no conceivable way that God, who is love, who is light, who is life, infinite unconditional love, does not condemn children to eternal damnation. And I just couldn't get anybody to give me a decent answer to that question. So I said, okay, who needs it? So I'm going to do a little experiment here. I'm going to put this rubber band around my finger, and we'll come back to that in a few minutes. It's just a demonstration, a prop. JT had a whole bunch of props last week. I just have one. So, what is God? What is spirit? What is this thing that we're trying to get in front of? And it's impossible to define all that is. You know, it's just about words that fail to describe all that is. And what we're doing, what we're actually doing, is trying to come to an understanding so that we can actually participate in the flow of life. What is the flow of life? Well, remember the synonyms, life, love, light, and God are all the same thing. I think that the best definition that I've found of spirit, of God, was demonstrated on the big screen by George Lucas. I think that the Force is the best description that I've run into of what God is. And instead of may the Force be with you, I would say, may you be open to the Force. So the Force is an energy field. Everything is energy. There's nothing that isn't energy. Seems solid, doesn't it? But it actually isn't. It's a collection of little bits of energy, including subatomic particles, whirling at such speed that it seems to be solid. But it isn't. It's nothing but energy. Everything that we see, everything that we lay our eyes on, is in fact energy. And this energy field that we call the flow of life is everywhere equally present. Not more here because we're spiritual people and less there, but we are literally in the field where the totality of that field is equally present everywhere. How is that possible? It simply is. So the notion that somehow this energy field can be withheld is a pipe dream. It's a cartoon character of spirit. And it was created, I'm not sure by whom, but it actually is important to understand that spirit does not withhold anything from anyone. For instance, there's a law of the universe that's called gravity. Do we pray to the God of gravity? Oh, God of gravity, please continue to keep us from floating off into space. No, we don't do that. Why would we waste our time asking the God of gravity to do its thing? And the same is true of spirit. Spirit does not respond to a request that sounds like, hey, God, you forgot I need. It can't respond that way because what? Because simply spirit has already done all that it can do. That energy field is everywhere present and exists now, right here, right there, right where everyone is. And the only prayer that ever makes any sense is, thank you, Spirit, for sending me this energy field. Help me to open myself to this flow of energy. It simply doesn't make any sense to be praying for special dispensations because they don't exist. Spirit can't do that. There are certain advanced energy forms called angels and guides that can help you, but all they're really doing is helping you to get in tune with the energy that is everywhere present and flows. So I don't know if you can see my finger, but it's beginning to turn a little red. And pretty soon it's going to turn blue. And, I don't want to go that far, so we'll take it off right now. And I don't know if you can see it there, but there's a little indentation right there at the end of my finger. And pretty soon, the vascular system of my body, which is the flow of life, will head out into the fingertip, get rid of the indentation, get rid of the redness that was about to become blueness, and will begin to function in the way that it was intended to function. It simply does not, under any circumstances. My vascular system doesn't say, well, you just put that wrap on your finger, we're going to teach you a lesson. We're going to withhold ourselves because you didn't believe in us. Well, that's pretty silly, isn't it? And yet, many people in the world believe in a God that withholds, that says, no, not you, you're bad, or whatever form that decision seems to take. It simply is not the case. It's not true, and it's all made up. It's a cartoon caricature of spirit. And it's designed primarily as a fear-based control device. And it simply is ineffective and doesn't work because spirit always says yes. The energy field is available to everyone. You can access this energy field right now. Here's a really extraordinary statement. You are already enlightened. You are blessed. You are an expression of divinity right where you are. And what gets in the way of you experiencing that is what? Your belief system. You have come to the conclusion that you aren't very good and you probably don't deserve it, and all those negative stories that somebody has filled your mind with. And I'm here to suggest that that is simply ill-advised and not true. What is available to every single being is full access to the wisdom, the love, the light, the joy, the prosperity, and the health that is contained within this energy field. Now, what's in it for you? How about a life of unmitigated joy? How does that sound? Well, that sounds pretty good to me. But not everyone is intended to be as rich as Croesus. You know, it's just not going to happen. And some of you will say, well, I've got this disease. There is no disease anywhere ever that cannot be healed. And healing takes place because you open up your receptors to this movement of energy that is light, life, love, and God, because it is there and it's waiting for you. It's not waiting for you to say the right prayer. It's waiting for you to be willing to be open and receptive to this flow of energy, which is everywhere present. And there are a number of ways that you can do this, not the least of which is to get rid of all of these old ideas that might be kicking around. Some of them may even be subconscious. Some of them may be left over from teachings that are ancient. Some of them may be from lifetimes, many lifetimes ago. And you may not know what's down there in your subconscious. And there's a simple process called overwriting the hard drive. And it simply is creating affirmations of truth for you to put into your subconscious. Your subconscious believes everything you say. And if you ever get caught saying, well, I don't deserve this, or I'm sick, or whatever, you're allowing yourself to be subject to that stinking thinking. So you're free to do that, but why would you? Why would you do that? Why would you do that to yourself? Well, that's just the way it is. That's what I was taught, and I'm not going anywhere. Well, I give you the opportunity to tune in to these notions. And truly, it is not a new idea. It's a very old idea. Perhaps you've heard of the Yoga Sutras by Patanjali. One of the aphorisms that he wrote, and it's not clear when he wrote this. Some say that it's 1,700 years ago at least, and some claim that they're 3,000 or 4,000 years old. So we really don't know how old they are, but they're well translated into English. And one of them goes like this: as the removal of earth by a farmer digging a ditch opens up a channel for water to flow to his crops, so too the removal of obstacles by the student opens up a channel for cosmic energy to flow into his being. Several thousand years old of wisdom is right there. And Plotinus, a Greek philosopher of the 3rd century, said this: let your mind and heart release all that disturbs you. Let your body be still, and all the frettings of your body and all that surrounds it. Let the earth and the sea and the air be still, and heaven itself. And then think of spirit as streaming, pouring, rushing, and shining into you, through you, and out from you in all directions, while you sit quiet. And there you have ancient Greek wisdom, 1,700 years ago. Because these old ideas are sometimes called New Thought, but literally, they are old, and they have been around for a very long time. And you may say, well, I just don't believe it. And that's okay, because you're in charge of the thoughts that find a home in your mind. Only you can change your mind. Only you can listen to the voice for God. You may listen to the voice for fear and be happy as a clam listening to the voice for fear. And that's okay. You see, the thing that's true about spirit is that there never is judgment. There never is a penalty that you pay for not praying the right way, not belonging to the right church, not belonging to this group or that group, or bowing to the east or west or wherever it is. There's no such thing as punishment. There's no such thing as sin. Sin is simply an acronym that describes sinking into negativity. That is what sin is. So, if you want to sink into negativity, the world is yours. And you can have as much negativity as you can stand. And one of these fine days, you'll say, I've had enough of this crap. I'm going to change my mind. And I invite you to change your mind, because literally, your mind is the key. It is absolutely the key to your access to this energy field. Just like my finger is now fully functional, no longer turning red, and the little crease around the middle is almost gone. And the reason that that is so is that is the way spirit works. You don't have to apologize for not having figured this out 25 or 50 years ago, or 40 lifetimes ago, because it doesn't matter. All that matters is simply that you decide when you're ready to be open and receptive to the flow of infinite, unconditional love, light, life. When Jesus was on the planet a couple of thousand years ago, he said, seek first the kingdom, and all these things will be added unto you. And what does that actually mean? the kingdom is this energy field. That's what the kingdom is, and it's everywhere present, and it's yours for the claiming. All you have to do is clean the rust out of your pipes and let it flow. Go with the flow. I think the hippies had that saying 50 years ago. Go with the flow, man. Of course. What else would you do? Resistance. Oh, wow. I never heard of that. So, Einstein said, the single most important question that you can ever ask is this: is the universe a friendly place? And I say to you, the universe is a friendly place, because everywhere in the universe is this energy field that is life, that is light, that is love, and it is God. And that's what this thing is all about. And disabuse yourselves of this notion that God is a white guy with a beard sitting somewhere holding court, judging everyone. Nah, doesn't happen that way. It simply is not that. And you can have this perfect, wonderful access to this energy field right now. This very moment, this afternoon, you might decide, well, it's going to take me a couple hours to get rid of all this negative thinking that I've accumulated. And that's okay. You can take as long as you want. In fact, you can say, I never heard such a silly idea. I'm not even going to do that. And that's okay too, because I guarantee you, God doesn't get angry. God is incapable of anger, because, as we've defined, this is an energy field. May you be open and receptive to the force. And that's what I think about the force. So it's open mic time.